Hello, and welcome to everyone who is in attendance for our webinar today. I'm so glad you've joined us. My name is Dr. Leah Jeanette. I'm going to be your host as we talk about our MA in Bioethics and Medical Humanities program, and specifically how this program is going to help grow your knowledge and skills within this field and with this field here at Case Western Reserve University. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. All right. So as I said, I'm Dr. Leah Jeanette. I am the director of the master's program. I'm also the associate director of educational programs and a senior research associate in the Department of Bioethics in the School of Medicine. I'm also a clinical ethicist at University Hospitals Cleveland Medical Center, which is just next door to Case Western Reserve. So in addition to administrative role and teaching, I also interact with patients and the healthcare teams at UH. The other thing I will add, which is unique to my resume, is that I am a master's program alum. So I did this master's program a number of years ago, and afterwards went on to get my PhD in bioethics. My focus has been on clinical ethics and adolescent health over the last several years, in addition to ethics education. And so it's really nice to be in the department and now the director of a program that I completed a number of years ago. So I'm going to keep us moving forward. We're going to cover a little bit about Case Western Reserve and our School of Medicine. We'll do an overview of bioethics and medical humanities. We'll dive into the MA program and talk more about the skills and knowledge you'll learn throughout your time in our one-year program. Talk about the application process and deadlines, assistantships, financial aid, and also leave time for Q&A. So if you do have a question as I go along, please feel free to submit to the Q&A feature here on Zoom. If you are watching the recording, you're welcome to email your questions to us, bioethics@case.edu. I'll repeat that later at the end of the presentation. But if you submit your questions to us here on Zoom, I will take a look and answer them when we get towards the end of the presentation. But feel free to submit at any point. So I'll start with talking about Case Western Reserve University and our School of Medicine. Case Western Reserve is located in Cleveland, Ohio. We are the largest, I believe the largest medical school in the state of Ohio. There are several here, but we are ranked number one. We have different rankings across the country depending on what evaluations you're looking at. But specifically in terms of our research, productivity, grants, those kind of things, we're ranked very highly, both nationally and internationally, in terms of research funding. Part of that is because our School of Medicine has wonderful research going on, but we also are highly ranked because we collaborate with our partnering institutions here in Cleveland, Ohio. We'll talk a little bit more later about our clinical hospital sites, our teaching hospitals, and how we partner with them. We also collaborate across our schools. So not only is the School of Medicine doing research, but we're collaborating with Mandel School and our law school and our College of Arts and Science and engineering and so on. So it's a really great opportunity for students to learn in an environment where we're doing the work. So let's focus a little bit on bioethics and medical humanities. So one of the questions I consistently get asked is, why study bioethics and medical humanities? And one of the first things that come to mind is that healthcare impacts all of us, whether it's a professional setting or personal. And ultimately, healthcare impacts us in a number of ways, one of which is that there are great advancements in medicine, science, and technology. And because of that, it leads to big questions that are ethical and humanistic concerns. I know the most recent thing that is being talked about a lot is AI and technology. And there are a lot of ethical questions that we have to wrestle with as a society, as an institution, as a country, as a world. And so there's a lot of things to think about, especially how it intersects with healthcare, and from a bioethics lens, from a humanistic lens, social medicine. And so these questions are relevant to these kind of big questions we ask. So things like, should we intervene? What kind of value should inform policy and practice? Should we ensure justice and respect for persons in the research we're conducting, in our clinical practice, in the healthcare system as a whole? And so you can see where these are big questions. And while by no means is any individual education program going to answer these, we are going to aim to give you the knowledge and the skills to address them, right? Our goal isn't to just spoon feed you answers, but actually to help you work through addressing these. So how does bioethics and medical humanities assist a student's career path? So our fields of bioethics and medical humanities are incredibly interdisciplinary. They're incredibly multidisciplinary, and interprofessional. And so we see a lot of collaboration across the different disciplines that come together in bioethics and medical humanities. Ultimately, what that means then is it launches our students into their professional careers beyond or after they complete our program. So we have students who go into a myriad of clinical professions, such as going on to medical school or physician assistant programs, nursing, advanced practice nursing programs, and so on and so forth. Various legal professions, whether it's actually becoming a lawyer and working in the health law field, or being in some type of legal adjacent profession. We also have a lot of students who go on to regulatory work, working in health policy, working in lobbying or government work. We have students who go on to different arts and humanity careers. And then there are some of us who go on to become bioethicists, me being a prime example, but other areas of academia as well. And we also have a segment of students every year that join our program, and they're not 100% sure what their professional career path may be. They're still exploring. And what we think of that opportunity for our students is searching for discernment. And so this program allows students to explore different directions that they may go after their time in the program. So to dive a little bit more into our Master of Arts in Bioethics and Medical Humanities program, this fall we are celebrating our 30th year. We are one of the oldest Masters in Bioethics programs in the country. Our program is typically completed full-time in a one-year time frame, usually 2 semesters, starting in August and graduating in May. We do have students who do the program part-time, though it is available, as well as dual degree options for students. As well. Our curriculum is highly customizable. It's 30 credits in total, typically 15 in the fall, 15 in the spring, and 13 and a half of those are pure electives. So you can customize the electives you're taking as it relates to bioethics and medical humanities, but also to the career path you're hoping to pursue or searching for discernment or what have you. Within that required courses, we do have 160 hours of clinical ethics rotations. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And we offer as electives short-term study abroad courses, either 1 or 2 weeks of travel over spring break or in May. And students can explore a specific topic in a specific location for that time period with other students and a faculty from our department, but also hearing from experts in the country, going on tours, site visits, those kind of things. We do offer personalized advising for each student. So as you're putting your course schedule together, you'll be assigned an academic advisor who really can dive into what are your goals for the program, what are your goals beyond the program, and how the program can support those goals, especially through the curriculum, but also holistically at Case Western Reserve and the greater Cleveland area. So within our program, we also have 3 concentrations. So by default, all students are in our traditional program. In just a moment, I'll show you what that looks like. But we then have 3 concentration students can choose from if they want to dive more specifically into an area. So our first concentration we created many years ago was the research ethics concentration. And students who do this concentration tend to want to explore the ethics in research and the ethics of research. Many of them go on to regulatory or some type of legal career, and so there's a lot for students to explore there. Our second concentration that we created is the Medicine, Society, and Culture concentration. This launched in 2017. It is a concentration that focuses on exactly what the title says, how we think about medicine as society and culture intersect with it. So thinking beyond the biology, beyond the science of medicine. And this focuses more on the medical humanities side of the program, as well as things like social medicine. And then our newest concentration is health policy. This concentration launched in 2023. And students from this go on to actually a variety of career paths, just like the MSc concentration. So our students go on to things like medical school, law school, dentistry programs, pharmacy programs, PhD programs. It's a variety. And honestly, students in any of these concentrations can go into a myriad of career paths as well. But in particular, we see students in the health policy concentration going on to professional education programs. So when you think about how these courses are structured, all of our students take our core courses: Foundations of Bioethics and Medical Humanities, a first semester of clinical ethics rotations, our Foundations in Bioethics and Medical Humanities 2 offered in the spring, and writing our Bioethics and Medical Humanities capstone. Then from there is where we see the customization. And so in the traditional program, students have all the electives completely open to them, and they do a second semester of rotations. When you're in a specific concentration, your first elective is assigned to you based on that concentration. So Foundations of MSc, Research Ethics and Regulations, as you can see. In this health policy concentration, our core course, our core course is offered in the spring semester. There's also the mini elective that is designated for the specific concentration. And then for our health policy and our research ethics concentration, instead of their second semester of rotations, they do the health policy practicum. So let me talk a little bit more about our research ethics our clinical ethics rotations. These are kind of a hallmark of our program. We're really proud of these, and it's probably one of the #1 reasons that students choose our program and really enjoy it. So students have the opportunity to spend 160 hours inside our teaching hospitals here in Cleveland. We have 4 wonderful teaching hospitals. University hospitals and Cleveland Clinic are the 2 private healthcare systems here in Cleveland. Cleveland Clinic probably is the most well-known, not only nationally, but internationally. Metro Health and the Cleveland VA are our 2 public hospital systems. But altogether, each of these hospitals have full-time clinical ethicists, bioethicists, doing clinical ethics consultation, doing bioethics work at these hospitals. And so our students are able to spend time going to things like morning rounds, whether it's in an ICU or a general floor, or interdisciplinary teams meetings. Students can attend different types of committee meetings, whether it's ethics committee, institutional review board or research meetings, rehabilitation, animal research meetings, transplant selection meetings, or I should say, and they go with one-on-one with healthcare professionals. Things like visiting patients, attending different team meetings, directing, and then direct care of patients as well. So for instance, at Metro Health, students, in addition to going to the different rounds of committee meetings, can spend time in the emergency department one-on-one with an attending as they're providing care. At places like Cleveland Clinic, students can attend transplant selection meetings to see what it's like for a committee to decide if someone gets listed for an organ transplant. At places like university hospitals, students get to attend different types of interdisciplinary team meetings or ICUs in the morning. It's a really great opportunity. So students are assigned to complete 80 hours in the fall and then potentially 80 hours in the spring, depending on their concentration. While you're doing these rotations, you meet on a weekly basis with fellow students and also a clinical ethicist from the hospital to talk about what you've observed that week, what meetings you went to, what kind of patients you saw. And really, it gives you an opportunity to dive into the ethics, the legal, the policy, the cultural issues as it pertains to what you've seen throughout that week. You also keep a log and a journal of your rotations, as well as writing up 2 case analyses. This is a great opportunity for students who are looking to get more clinical experience, but also for those who are looking to explore career options. The number of healthcare professionals that you interact with is incredible, and it's beyond the stereotype of just physicians and nurses. There's social workers, genetic counselors, chaplains, aides, administrators, all different kinds of roles that you'll get to interact with through these rotations. And I absolutely love that we're able to give our students this much access to healthcare directly. I'm going to transition us to talk a little bit about master's program outcomes. And so one of the things we do for students is we really add to your skill set and to your knowledge base. Anyone who is going into any type of profession that is healthcare adjacent really can hone their skills and their knowledge through this program, understanding how healthcare works a little bit better, understanding the ethical and the humanistic complexities that come with working in different institutions. It really does matter. We are technically designated as an application enhancer program by the AAMC for those who are applying to medical school. And anecdotally, we hear from our students every single year as they're being interviewed for medical schools, law schools, PhD programs. There's a lot of interest in studying bioethics and medical humanities at the master's level and trying to understand how students are connecting that to their future work and to their career goals. And as I mentioned, we always give opportunity for students to have discernment through this program. In addition, we have over 1,200 alums at this point, and so they are in a variety of fields and career paths, and so the networking opportunities are really great. The other thing I will add is bioethics and medical humanities is a fairly small field, and so if there's someone in this field that is an expert that you're interested in meeting or connecting with, I'm sure someone from our department knows this person, and so that networking opportunity is really great way to also leverage in our program. Things that we can, another area that we can sharpen your skill set is in research. So we have research active faculty and staff at the local, national, and international level. We have things like our bi-monthly research core forums. We have works in progress seminars so you can hear what kind of projects our faculty and staff are working on. We have different ethics grand rounds like our Metro Health Bioethics at noon, University Hospitals Ethics Grand Round. And ultimately, if students are interested, you might be able to join a research project with faculty and staff. And we will make sure that you're trained in the skills that you need for that type of work that you're joining. We also prepare students for the next phase. I talked a little bit about our personalized advising and our discernment already, but I do want to mention that we have a great collaboration with our career and professional development offices in the School of Medicine and career services across the university. And so there's a lot of greater resources that Case Western Reserve can offer our students as well. Just by example, here's a selection of some of the undergrad majors that students enter our program with. They have bachelor's degrees in different areas. As you can see, there's such a variety of things that students have studied over the years. And then here's just a small sampling of different career paths that our students have gone on to over our 30-year history. And I think that's one of the great hallmarks of being a very well-established program is that we have alums in a lot of different fields and a lot of different work, and probably someone who is doing something that you're interested in and we can connect you with. If you're interested in applying to our program, we are still taking applications to start this upcoming fall semester. There's an online application. If you're interested in a fee waiver, please email us. We do ask for transcripts from all your undergrad and graduate institutions. It's helpful if it has a degree verification date on it, just to process things quickly. We ask for a resume or a CV, 2 letters of recommendation. Those can actually be submitted by your writers after you hit submit on the MA application. So don't feel like you have to wait for those to arrive to hit submit. We ask that you write a statement of purpose. A statement of purpose is really your way in 1 or 2 pages maximum, telling us your interest in bioethics and medical humanities, and ultimately how you hope to utilize this program in your career path. Test scores are optional, so please don't feel like you have to submit or go out and take a GRE or an MCAT in order to apply for our program. And then for international students, there sometimes is a requirement of English language test scores or transcript evaluations where applicable. And if you are a current CASE student completing your undergrad, you could be eligible to take our program during senior year, at which point we would need to work on a PPOS form together. If you have more questions about any of this, feel free to email us. In terms of financial aid, we do have opportunities called student assistantships, where students can get involved in either a teaching, research, or administrative role. And in exchange for that work, students will receive up to a $13,000 tuition waiver. It varies depending on the number of hours you're assigned to complete, the role itself as well. We also have traditional financial aid opportunities for students, including grants, loans, scholarships, and work study. And if you want more information on the tuitions and fees, it's available through Graduate Studies. In terms of a timeline, as I mentioned, we are still taking applications for fall 2025 currently. Our final deadline to submit is August 1st. When we receive an application, once it's complete, meaning all materials have been submitted, including the 2 letters of recommendation, we can typically review your application and render a decision within 2 to 3 weeks. This time of year, we're moving much quicker, a 1 to 2 week pace, because we know that you need to make decisions in order to figure out housing options, because we are an in-person program. And so I highly recommend, if you are interested in applying for this upcoming cycle, the earlier you submit, the better, because then you can start making the arrangements you need in order to move to Cleveland if you're not already here. But ultimately, we do take applications all the way up until August 1st. Our orientation is the end of August, and the first day of the semester starts August 25th. Now's a great time for me to answer questions. If you have questions, we'd love for you to submit them here in the Q&A feature. So I'll give you guys a moment to submit any. I think one of the questions we get asked probably the most often, and I'm happy to answer it as I wait for questions to come in, is what makes our program unique compared to other Masters in Bioethics programs across the country? And I think there's 2 things. One is that because we are a well-established program, we have been able to intentionally grow our program in terms of the breadth and depth over our 30 years. And so, as I mentioned before, we have our 3 concentrations, and we have slowly added concentrations over our 30-year history based on student feedback, based on student interest, based on the directions our students are going or the topics they're clamoring to learn. We take our students' opinions of curriculum and their feedback very seriously. And so we are intentional in how we provide opportunities for our students. It's allowed us to add things like study abroad courses. It's allowed us to add different expert speakers and professional development opportunities. And so we've grown our program very intentionally. The second thing that makes our program unique, which I will reiterate from what I said earlier, and that is our clinical ethics rotations. No other Masters in Bioethics program gives you the opportunity for 160 hours of clinical experience. And I think that is really significant. And so I think those are the 2 major reasons that our program is unique and set apart from others. So I'm seeing there's some questions coming in. One is, can you talk a little more about the opportunities abroad? Are there select countries where students might go, or does it vary? This is a great question, and I'm happy to answer it. So we have established courses that we offer every year. Every year we review what courses we're going to be offering for the next year. So this upcoming spring 2026, we are going to be likely offering 2 courses that travel in May. One will be a course that focuses on the intersection of bioethics, culture, and religion, and that goes for 1 week to Paris, France. Dr. Sana Liu teaches that course. She just taught it this past spring, and it was a big success. And so it's a mixture of doing readings and having 2 or 3 classes before you travel to Paris, and then you go to Paris for the week with the group and Dr. Liu, and you get to interact with expert speakers. You get to interact with the site visits and tours and museums and that kind of stuff. And you're immersed in those topics, in that culture. We have another course that will go in May to Granada, Spain. It focuses on overall healthcare and bioethics topics, comparing the US and the Spanish context and cultures. And that is 2 weeks in May. And we are looking at potentially launching a new course over spring break. And this is hot off the presses. It's still not confirmed, but we're hoping to be able to launch a course to Birmingham, England over spring break, focusing on the intersection of ethics and leadership and like healthcare administration and such. So we're still working through that, but we're excited that we might be offering that course as well. Every year the list may change, but we typically offer at least 1 or 2 over spring break and 1 or 2 in May. So great question. There's another question, a list of electives. We do have electives listed on our website, which you're more than welcome to peruse through. I can highlight some electives that we offer. So things like disability in society, mental health ethics, neuroethics, clinical ethics, theory and practice, things like genetics and ethics. We've had other electives sometimes pop in and out, things like philosophical bioethics, disability bioethics, philosophy of medicine. So we have a variety of options, both at 3 credit and 1.5 credit. So some of our 1.5 credit electives have included things like correctional healthcare ethics, occupational health and bioethics, things like Star Trek and bioethics, such a variety that students can experience. So great question. There's another question. If interested in doing this program during senior year of undergrad, do bioethics classes taken in the freshman through junior year count? Or do they have to be done in 1 year? This is another great question. So for students who are current undergrads, you have to be officially enrolled in the master's program for a graduate level bioethics course to count towards the master's program. Now, most students complete the master's degree requirements and they're enrolled in the master's program in addition to their undergrad during senior year, but sometimes it can move a little forward into like spring of junior year if we need to. Courses typically taken freshman through junior year in bioethics are typically undergrad exclusive courses, meaning they're below a 400 level course. And so they cannot count towards the master's degree. What I highly recommend for students is to schedule a one-on-one meeting with me to discuss the combined bachelor's and master's program. We can talk specifically about your major, your minors, how this could work specifically in your circumstances in order to best prepare for completing the master's program in addition to your bachelor's degree over the 4 years. And in that case, some students even take a 5th year if they need it. And so there's a lot of options and variety that we can think about. So great questions. I'm looking to see if there's any more. In the meantime, I will say that if you're interested, please, you want to find out, look, I'm thinking about applying. I'm not exactly sure if this is the right fit for me. Please feel free to email us, bioethics@case.edu. I will send you a link and we can set up a one-on-one meeting for us to go over your specific interest, how our program aligns with your career path, your interests, your circumstances, and ultimately talk about, is the program a good fit for you? Almost like a pre-screening to submitting your application. If you are a current case undergrad and or dual degree and you have any questions, please feel free to email us. For anyone, you can email us bioethics@case.edu. I'm happy to set up a one-on-one Zoom meeting with you. We'll have other webinars. We have other pre-recorded webinars that you can also watch. And if you need to schedule a visit to come to campus and see what our department looks like, what our classes are like, we're very happy to welcome you on a time that works for everybody. So I'm not seeing any more questions come in, and so I will wrap us up. Thank you so much for joining us today, those who are attending live. Thanks to those who are watching the recording. We appreciate you taking the time. And like I said, please feel free to reach out to us. We are quite accessible. And we hope that you consider submitting an application to join us, whether it's this fall or in future years. Our program is a great fit for a myriad of career paths. And we have created a program that really can enhance a student's career path in a myriad of different directions. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.